Welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, so roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Now, for those of you that are new to my channel, I look at your soul wounds, which means that I'm looking at your inner child wounds. I'm looking at the shadow aspects of yourself, and we're seeing how they play out as karmic experiences within your relationship, within your finances, and within all other areas of your life. Now, if you're new to the channel, anything of any importance you can find in the description box below, all important links, including my Patreon link. Now, if you're someone that feels that you're stuck and you might be stuck in seeing a new way of life, sometimes we get stuck in a relationship, we can be stuck within a bad work situation, we could just be stuck in a perception. And that perception is one that keeps us in a place of limitation, in a place of disempowerment. So there's only two energies, love and fear. So there's fear that plays out as toxic relationships. And so in today's reading, we're going to look and see what your triggers are with your person and vice versa, and how those triggers play out as karmic experiences, and what you need to do to balance, really integrate the spiritual lesson, which means being able to see a different perception of your situation. And a lot of times we don't, because we are dealing with a person, our person, the way that we've always dealt with them. You know, we don't just change our perceptions. Our perceptions are built many times on what we perceive as safe, as comfortable for us. But what may be comfortable for us is not comfortable for someone else. And that's usually what happens in soulmate, twin flame relationships. We're dealing with different energy, completely different energy. Unconditional love teaches balance, teaches us how to go with the flow within the relationship. So shadow healing is not just about the awareness of what it is that what our perception is, and how those perceptions are playing out within our behaviorisms, but it's actually to be able to see, like I said, a different outcome. There's many different realities that play out at one time, depending on your level of consciousness. Level of consciousness, again, is, are we coming from a place of fear, or are we coming from a place of love? So again, soulmates, twin flames, past life karmic mates, any soul family comes into our life to teach us a different perception, a different way. However, again, there is resistance. And then what happens is behaviorisms come from that. And this is the number one cause of sabotaging behavior, when we get in our own way. So healing is like an onion. And so we're going to look and see, like I said, what's going on within your situation, how your person feels about you, Virgo. And then we're going to ask all the questions about their perception, how they feel about you and life with you from their perception. And then we're going to look and see it from your perception, and we're going to pick out the shadows and then the triggers, and how those triggers play out as the karmic experiences. Now, if you resonate with this video, please give me a like, comment. I love it when you guys comment. I love it when you guys are interactive, and you're going to have to comment anyway if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me. You'd have to like the video anyway, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the day. Today's word is going to be two words: self-observation. Self-observation. When we're doing shadow healing, the first part of shadow healing is awareness. And that is through self-observation. We have to look at ourselves. A lot of times when we get triggered, we're looking at who's in our environment. We're blaming someone else for the way that we feel usually. And that's why it said soulmate, twin flames. It's all about that, realizing that spirit, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, brings this divine person into your life to teach you. And you wouldn't stick around long enough unless you were crazy about that person, whether that's very passionate, very sexually attracted to that person, whether that person just feels like home, whatever the reason. So understand the soul relationships, there's a sense of not being able to control. And that's something what I'm kind of feeling before I even pull a card. Some of the cards went crazy because this first deck I have that has over 175 cards in it. And so when one falls, a lot fall. And so I have to make sure that they are, like I said, you can see that's a chunky deck. We want to look and see things from their perception. And then we're going to look at their inner child wounds and their shadows, and again, how the triggers play out. Okay. So when we do self-observation, we're looking at ourselves mainly because life isn't good. We're saying, why is that happening? After we've gotten triggered and pointed the finger a lot of times. Because what happens with karmic cycles is that we go back into a situation, a relationship. Maybe we haven't dated in 5 years, 4 years, a year, 5 months, doesn't matter. But we go back into the relationship and the same type of experiences play out just with a different person. So this is what a karmic cycle is. So, and until we heal it, we're bringing that baggage in to every single relationship. So not until we look at ourselves, self-observation, then we can change. But understand, it's the emotion that is the gateway to shadow healing. Okay, so the first card that came out is, my ego is fragile to criticism and rejection. I've created walls to protect myself. So again, excuse me, I feel like there's something in my teeth. So you're dealing with a person that has a very low self-esteem. Ego is a dust part of self. The dust part of self is a part of self that when we look in the mirror, we perceive that that's who we are. And so your person doesn't really have a spirit part of self that they understand. They know that they have a soul, but as far as spirit, there's laws to living in alignment with spirituality. And those laws are in alignment with the laws of love, the laws of God, the laws of nature, the laws of the universe. And so when we're living in our ego, we're not living in alignment. We're usually out of balance. And what happens is we don't get good manifestations from that. We can begin to, but then what happens is that we sabotage ourselves. So your person has a bad way of where they keep sabotaging themselves. They don't like who they are. And that's why they're so fragile. So there's old wounds there. So they're admitting this. They know this. There's a part of them that has problems with commitment because of this. So I'm feeling like, Virgo, you're dealing with a person that has commitment issues, obviously, but not because of you, but because of them, and they know this. And so self-observation is also telling me they're in a place of finally awakening. And awakening is when we begin to look at our life and say, why does my life look like this? Instead of, you're the problem. No, you're the problem. Or I don't care if you're the problem, I'll just get rid of you, ignore you, dispose of you. I don't care, because that's the energy with the ego. The ego is never wrong. The ego doesn't want to apologize. The ego is afraid to be vulnerable. So automatically, and it says, I long ago shut down those parts of me that wanted love, romance, and intimacy, but you make me long for those things again. So This is a very spiritual connection, and they realize that because normally they're able to shut their feelings off. They're able to not care. And with you, they can't do that. And that's really what these soul relationships are. They're teaching us about unconditional love. God is the energy of unconditional love. The universe is the same thing as God, and it's the energy of unconditional love. We have the energy of unconditional love inside of us. That is the spirit part of self. That's the God part of self that connects each and every person to each other. But the ego part of self are parts that we create as a mask that protects us. So your person is used to wearing a mask. And with you, there's a sense of not wanting to wear the mask, feeling that they could actually be vulnerable, that they feel safe, which is what a soul relationship is. It's like, I feel like this person's home, my home. And so, and they feel that. And they long for that, and everybody longs for that. But they're used to kind of departmentalizing, like they could, if some of you may be with somebody that's married, but they're not really, there's no love there. It's bound together through finances. So others of you are with a person that just doesn't date. They hook up a lot. So it's, again, either way, it comes out as ego, survival, negative energy. So again, after a while, when we keep getting hurt and we stay in that energy, we detach, we disassociate, and that's to not feel. So your person doesn't like to feel, and why that's important is they're going to have a hard time with emotional intimacy, and that's rooted in trust. Now, these feelings overwhelm me and I become afraid. Sometimes I even run away from you because of it. So, and that's what I was saying about the emotional intimacy that you'll feel every time you let your guard down and try and be vulnerable, that to this person where you open up and you expose your heart to this person, it scares them because they can feel the depth of the relationship. Soul relationships are that way. Again, you feel like home to this person. They are used to being able to shut their feelings off, not give a shit. And so with you, they're terrified. They are terrified. So it's when we're talking, things just come out of my mouth, and afterwards, I'm not even sure why I said them. So they have a lot of anxiety around you because you bring up feelings. So it's almost like if you're to text them back and forth, they might answer yes, no, like one word, where you're like, I'm texting my ass off over here with paragraphs, and this person is responding with like 3 words. But if you see them, it's like they have diarrhea mouth. You can't shut them up. And it's because there's feelings and there's emotions, and they're not emotionally intelligent. So, like I said, when you want this person to act vulnerable, they don't know how to do it. But if you, again, are just there and you're like, I'm not looking for it, I don't give a shit whether you tell me, whether you don't tell me, I'm busy with my life, then you can't shut them up because they have an intimacy issue. Now, you say, why does that happen? Because that would definitely be a trigger for you. And I'm going to tell you why. It happens because, let's pull a card on it, but I'm going to tell you why. Also, that's not card related. I'm going to channel the reason why. Because maybe there's many different reasons why, but I know what happens when we have trauma, a spiritual block, that's psychological trauma is one that keeps us in a place of disempowerment, one that makes us not feel safe, one that, again, where we weren't supported at one time for just being vulnerable. So, like I said, when your person gets overstimulated, they say a lot, but they have fear of abandonment. And fear of abandonment because, like I said, at one time when they were vulnerable, they didn't get a good response. So they might have been told, big boys don't cry, big boys don't act, be a man. Like, or it could be big girls, act mature, big girls don't cry. Same type deal. And so when a child feels that they can't express themselves in a place where they're safe, they, adapt to navigating through the world through more logically, more analytically, so that they don't have to feel their emotions. However, we don't have control over who we love. And so what your person is realizing is, again, that this is a really deep, profound relationship. And on some level, it must mean something, because they're, again, very logical, very analytical. So I do feel like they also have a good connection to source themselves in their own way. And maybe they don't go to church every week, but they have their own personal relationship where they realize that there's something grander out there. So that's, again, one reason why, again, because they get overstimulated, why they talk so much. But let's see what the wound is. This one's kind of just jumping out at me, and this is dance. So again, dance, being able to like go with the flow. That your person is kind of knows how to be like a chameleon. A chameleon is someone that just becomes part of their environment, and that happens when, again, we try to express our thoughts, our feelings, and they're shut down. So we're told that they're not good. They're told we're made to feel, again, not safe, to be able to be ourselves. So what happens is that we learn how to adapt to whatever the environment, no matter what the environment is. So there's a sense of they can feel your energy, and I feel like you're a bubbly person. I feel like you're very logical and very analytical, but you're also very sensitive and have playful energy. And so I feel like you bring that out in them, and there is a real true desire for them to want intimacy. Everybody is born to want intimacy, even if they say, no, I don't really need that. No, that's trauma. That's trauma. And can we live in a place of trauma? Yes, your person did. They compartmentalized. They didn't really have deep relationships. They never really cared before. They were always the one in full control. With you, they don't have that. They're learning really what unconditional love is. And that's terrifying for them, because they can't control, and it brings out their real vulnerability, which is their ego is really fragile, because they don't really like who they are, because they don't trust who they are. Anchor. So again, they feel like you're really grounded. They feel like you're really grounded. And that makes them safe, because what happens is when we have a block, we go up in our head. That's just what happens. We go into survival mode. The reptilian mind takes over. And this is what activates the nervous system, which too much thought, too much emotion creates a freezing type, or where we can, again, overtalk, overshare, overgive. It's a second chakra imbalance, one that makes your person feel inadequate, because they say, I don't say anything, or I say too much. It comes out wrong. I get in my own way. They have too much thoughts about themselves, and they're used to dealing with people that they don't really care, that they've been in full control. It's like if you don't like somebody, you like them, but you don't have those deep feelings for someone, you can, you don't care as much. And so this person has blocks to love. They have blocks to, again, on how they view themselves. They have a self-esteem issue. So blocks to love and blocks to how they view themselves is why they get overstimulated, and they get in their own way, and they sabotage relationships usually. because they get in their own way, or if they care. And if they don't care, they just use the person for whatever long that. And I'm not saying that they're not nice to the person. I feel like they're charming, but they're phony and they're fake and they're surface. They refuse to get deep. That's why if I don't want to really feel my emotions because I'm disassociated and detached because I'm afraid, then we can see that this person could be real shady. And I'm kind of feeling like before they really knew who you were, because it took them a while for them to realize the depth of this relationship, you had to walk away. You know, like I said, they shut their feelings down. So they, just because you came into their life, it wasn't like, oh wow. It kind of ate away at them because they were very conscious of how much they gave. And so they didn't really understand because they thought that they were controlling everything, like how they always control to not have that emotional bond. But again, their feelings for you as they can, even if you say, well, I didn't really give them that much. Just you talking to them and talking to them about things that were not superficial, and superficial could be just sexual. I feel like this person would talk to women really, or men, very sexually, keep it real surface. So like I said, in that, it was it's short-lived when it's passion and then they get what they want. They're in, they're out. So they could be nice, but it's phony, not long enough to really bond. And here it is, you're having conversations with them. You're a real person. So what I feel that they thought was boring, which Virgos get a bad rap for that, they're realizing was true, was real, that you really cared, where you didn't go along with whatever the agenda was. It's not that I don't feel that this person would throw the line out. They would throw the line out to talk sexual to see how you were going to respond. I don't think you ever really played that game with them that much. And so they have respect for you. So these things didn't matter to this person, but as this person is healing, and that's what I'm feeling, because they're opening up their heart, they're allowing themselves to feel where before they weren't. So I know that they're healing without maybe even realizing that that's what they're doing. So I want to see exactly what they did. Okay, constraint, giving up your power, too many rules, take back your freedom. So I feel like this person just wanted to keep you in their confined to their rules, to being able to control. So they breadcrumbed. They didn't give you the time. If they gave time, they weren't very deep. They were surface. And I feel like that's really what made you walk away from this person, because you didn't want them to agree with everything and become a chameleon. You wanted this person to, and this person, by the way, would do that to have a stronger bond with people, connect with them, and kind of trick the person that they were like hooking up with, coming in like a chameleon, pretending to like have so much in common. So the other person would gain trust so that they could get what they want and then take off. With you, that didn't work. With you, it was really deep. And so they weren't able to constrain you, but I feel like you continually felt that that's what they were doing, that they were all continually trying to like manipulate the situation, which is what made you not deal with it. And I want to see what other triggers you had towards them, because we see with them, just you, this spiritual connection, it being so deep is what triggered them. You didn't do anything. It's the fact that you wanted a certain type of relationship. You're a true person, not surface. It is a soul relationship, because a deep relationship. So there's something that you need to learn too within this relationship, but really it taught your person that they can control love, that and that they're deserving of love. because they actually want love enough to change, which inevitably that's why we're here, to learn the lessons of love, and that love looks different. But love is love, we is interchangeable. It's connection to mother and daughter, father and son, father and daughter, like family, ancestors, soulmates, people that have actually hurt us, people like, again, all different types of relationships that we have connect us to love, so we can learn the lessons of love. And so your person was living, again, more from like a very logical, analytical, and not very spiritual place, as I said when this reading opened. And so they're awakening to the fact that there is a spiritual part of themselves, and so trapped. I felt trapped in this connection with no way out. I couldn't take it anymore. So I feel like your person has commitment issues. So, and remember, when we have gone through a relationship and someone has made us feel not safe, and safe can be just to be ourselves, what happens is that obviously we feel trapped, but we feel when we go into the next relationship, if we haven't healed that, we are afraid that the next person's going to do that. But the truth is, on an unconscious level, your person knows that they set the relationship up for that to happen because they're codependent. You know, having such a fragile ego and always coming into the relationship without a deep emotional connection, they always had full control. They were always able to emotionally manipulate to get what they want. So here it is, they're afraid that you're going to trap them, but really they're the ones trying to trap everybody before you. So was a sense that they brought their wound from a past relationship into this relationship, which is why they always breadcrumbed you. And I feel like you did say something, and when you didn't say something, again, they overreacted because, again, their ego is fragile. And they shut down, and they, like I said, they shut down a long time ago because of all their past relationships. They never healed. So even though you didn't do anything to make them feel trapped, they projected their wound onto you, which is what happens when we have a shadow. So, which is why you were like, I can't deal with this. You need to do healing. You need to do your shadow work. So we look and see what they need to do to heal their shadow. And then we're going to look and see what your shadow is, because why did this person manifest in your life? And really, that's what it's about for you, Virgo, because this person does have feelings. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this person isn't healed. They're going to, again, get comfortable enough for them, but if you try and get too comfortable, they're going to feel trapped until they heal. And they're always going to have a super fragile ego until they heal, because that's the sense that no one should be able to make us feel a certain way, like meaning no one should make us feel unworthy, not good enough. Those are all feelings that happen way before this relationship. So really, that's the constraint. The constraints are like this person's thoughts, and you were like, I'm not going to stay bound to this, because then it would be a trauma bond, one where this person would never be able to emotionally give you what you need. And to you trying to rescue them using your energy, which is, again, that codependency where they know what they do. And so their shadow here is pretending. You act like it's all fine, but you aren't happy. Unpack those emotions to see what's true for you. So again, like that chameleon, while also that facade, that mask, pretending that things are fine when no one's fine departmentalizing their life, meaning that they might be with or one relationship, living with someone that they feel that they should love and be able to be intimate, but they can't, but instead they're going to be intimate with strangers, or to be in a relationship where they're actually not giving, and so they're not getting, because it creates a lot of emotional turmoil where both parties then get into a power struggle to try and control, which again is the second chakra imbalance, which is that emotional center. When you're dealing with a person that doesn't want to feel, they become passive aggressive. They do things to get a reaction and an emotion out of you. They become manipulative because they're not comfortable expressing their feelings. So it becomes a very toxic relationship, and it's all because they don't feel comfortable to really be who they don't know who they are. So who they perceive they are, they don't like. But is it true? No. But that problem is, it's like that happened from a wound a long time ago. So they have to become, and look at this false front. It's like the same thing. Everything is the same thing, pretending, like trying to blend in. Look at this, trying to be a chameleon, feeling like they're an outsider. That a lot of highly sensitive people have that. They feel inadequate. They feel like there's something wrong with them. And so they form habits and behaviorisms that are usually where they overcompensate. And they will overcompensate. And I'm not showing that I have any feelings. I don't want to show that I have feelings. I want to control the relationship to get what I want, so that I feel safe, so I don't have to be vulnerable, because that I was taught that that was wrong. Now for you, I'm going to put these two cards back in just to be fair. And we are going to look and see, you know what, better yet, I am not even going to use this deck. We're going to look and see what your wounds are with them. Love this deck. Love this deck. The dark mirror. I love this deck. So we'll see what your shadows are. Because it says in the Bible, what we resist persists, meaning if you don't heal and integrate the blocks, the shadows, what will happen is in next relationship, even if this relationship doesn't work out and you meet someone new, the same type of patterns and behaviors come out, and you wind up creating the same exact thing. And sometimes we say, no, I'm gonna, avoid that, but then we wind up overcompensating and creating the same exact thing. It's like if you spoil your child and you neglect your child, you get the same spiritual block. Balance is where you have to let your child figure out who they are without restricting it so much, where with putting your opinions on it so much, because it makes the person feel as if they shouldn't be who they are. But then also guide them in, and this is how you take care of your body to be strong health-wise, because you don't want someone to get sick. This is how you share. You're not prejudiced. You share certain spiritual rules where there is structure, there is guidance, there is support, but there's also flexibility for the child to grow and learn who they are, so that they become confident in who they are. So what happens is that when that doesn't happen in childhood, where constraint, and that's controlled by a dominant parent, what happens is we take those fears into our relationships. And that's what happened with your person. And it's also happened with you. And this is the dynamic of a twin flame relationship, where there's a runner and a chaser. Inevitably, the runner and the chaser continually swap places. And what they're supposed to be learning is that there is a deep unconditional love. It's past life relationship, that you can't break that love. It transcends time and space. However, the wounds are still there, carried over from a past life. So where both people don't like are fighting for control, where control, we don't have control. We have to be able to go with the flow by being confident in who we are. And that's by having other areas in our life that fulfill us through passion. So let's look at yours, like I said. Bride in a cage. So see again, like a fear of bride in a cage. This is like this is perfect because this wound, and when I say perfect, it's just, it lines up so perfectly within the reading, because a bride in a cage is like when you become married and you lose your identity. It's like, yes, you're a bride, but it's like it's like you don't have an identity in it anymore. Like the cage is the marriage. The cage is like being stuck in a relationship where you're not allowed to have your identity, which is the fear, which is inevitably what this person is doing to you because they have that fear. So they're coming into the relationship where they're trying to protect themselves because they don't want to be the groom or the bride in the cage, where that's also your fear because of a dominant parent or dominant past relationship. And it's usually a dominant parent, and then every relationship that we get into, it's either we're with someone that's really dominant over us, or where it brings that out within us out of fear, a fear of abandonment. So fear of abandonment, which is why we would conform to our environment, why we would conform to somebody else's rules, what was comfortable for somebody else, especially someone that you love, someone that's a soulmate. So again, but this is the fear and then internal knowing. So that's why I said it lines up perfectly. And that also happens if you're an empath. So an empath and narcissist relationship, a lot of times, is what this type of relationship is. And so a lot of times narcissists, they don't know that they're narcissists. They don't want to be a narcissist. No one wants to be seen as that. But what that is that there's a deep sense of inadequacy. And because there's a deep sense of inadequacy where we see that your person has that, they would want to control their environment. They would see you, they're choosing you as you're an extension of them. That's how narcissism is. So, which is your fear. So you might have been brought up with a narcissist, or had got very dominant, like I said, parent, and then other relationships. So it's already your fear to be with someone that is manipulative, and what you see is that's that, and it's like peaceful among the thorns, and that's like when we become like almost like comfortable in the environment that's like not healthy for us. So these are your wounds, which we say, well, okay, so how do we heal that? Because if this is a soulmate twin flame relationship and there really is true feelings, actually, before we actually see how we heal that, let's see what the hidden truths are. Because sometimes narcissists are like, yeah, I like you, but I like you for what you can do for me instead of for the right reasons, right? And the right reasons is to like share a life, learn like to be in love, to share your life with someone, like I said, in all areas of play and learning the spiritual lessons, wanting to just go through life and like I said, learn the life lessons of love. And that's the easiest way to say it, but without like a long paragraph of why love. I think it's because, like you said, the greater reason of why we're down here is to learn. We're not separate from God. God is unconditional love. And we get to see that through our spiritual connections. So when we really feel that that's our person and we say, I know that that's going to be the best relationship that it could ever possibly be, because it's so going to be so deep and it's going to be so real and it's going to be so we're going to experience every single emotion to the deepest and the fullest, and And we're going to be able to transcend the limitations of our own shadows because of this love a lot of times. And it doesn't mean that because a person comes in and does all this stuff to heal us, it's because that person brings that out in us and vice versa. So that's what I'm talking about, the grander lesson of why where this person's in our life, instead of, well, when the person has a good job, they can take care of me. I like the house that they live in. No, like not for those type reasons, what you could do for me. I remember every detail of that day. I wish I could take back my words. I'm so attracted to you. So again, when it's a soulmate, like twin flame relationship, there is a deep, profound love. When it's a past life karmic mate, there is a deep, profound love. Also, family, again, have that type of love. And they do make us look back and see our behavior when we separate, when the relationship falls apart, and what it looks like is the relationship fell apart because you didn't put up with it. So now they wish that they would have played it differently because they didn't give you the time of day. And so, but now they're remembering one particular day that keeps playing over and over in their mind. I feel like some of you guys met on like a whim one day, and it was like not really planned. And it felt so natural and so comfortable. And so your person keeps having that memory like replay in their mind. They're like holding on to it. I know I messed up everything. Yeah, because they see that they didn't really put time in. So they're in regret right now, which is a good sign. And I say that only because they'll come back with changed behavior, that they want to fix it, is what I'm feeling, because they keep replaying it. So they see the importance of it. But unfortunately, you had to like walk away. They had to kind of really let their ego take over and ruin this connection. We will be together again. Like I said, I knew that. I knew, because it was like you could almost feel the energy. It's breaking, it's eating away at them because it's unconditional love. Remember, they can't control unconditional love because you can't control God. You can't control the energy of the universe. You just can't trick the universe. And so your person has thought that they were smarter at one point because for so long they were able to manipulate but I also feel like they're going through changes within inside of themselves because, again, the way that they're viewing life. So let's look now and see what the healing energies are. Because, did I say I wanted to see just one? I'm going to pull. This is how you feel about them. I feel our energy merging together as if it has a life of its own. We are becoming one again. So I feel like that you feel that this is a soulmate relationship, twin flame relationship too. And there's a sense of compassion there. There's a sense that you don't have problems within spiritual. You're strong in that area, so you're able to be more compassionate, more sensitive. And I think that they feel that, and that's why they feel comfortable also with you, because somebody else would never give them the time of day. And so you feel them softening. That's really what it is. You feel that they feel bad, because soulmate twin flame relationships, again, there's that ESP connection. You can feel each other. You can feel when a person's right there. You can feel when they're not there. You can feel when they're sad. You can feel when they're going through it. So this is why you feel like they're letting their guard down, and they are, because they're already making their way back. But in order to balance out the connection, because it's not just enough that this person comes back, they have to balance out the energy. You have to balance out your energy. We have to say, we're going to ask, what does this person need to heal in order to balance out this connection? And we're going to pull 2 cards and 2 cards for you. And then we're going to close it out with final message. Okay, these are feelings lists. So again, that It's not the one that I want. Okay, handling criticism. Handling criticism. Want, need, expect. Okay. I feel for your person that they need to first and foremost know what they want, need, and expect within a relationship so that they don't overpromise or underpromise. They also need to learn that everyone's allowed to have opinions, that they need to heal the core wound of how they feel about themselves, first of all, and they have to be able to communicate with you to be able to express what they expect within the relationship. You guys both need to be on the same page in order to heal this. Also, you need to be able to handle criticism because I feel that this person isn't emotional, so they might say something to you, and when a person that you care about says things but doesn't show you emotion, you would take things badly. You'd say, well, who are you? Like, all I get is criticism from you. You have to learn how this person feels comfortable to love. Everyone has a different love language. And maybe, again, within your conversation, you may say, well, I need for you to express the way that you feel. I need for you to communicate with me. I expect that you communicate with me. I expect that this relationship is going to be X, Y, Z, whatever your rules are, and vice versa, before you get into a relationship with this person. Because they're wounded still. You're wounded if you've connected with this person and also have the fear of being trapped and feel like once you're in a relationship someone turns bad into like the bad guy, which is your fear because of past relationships. And we know where that core wound came from, so being able to heal yourself, and that is by looking at our self-esteem first and foremost, because no one should be able to make us feel bad. So also saying, how are we going to handle criticism? Can't be triggered because, again, triggering makes us project, and then behaviorism that's our sabotaging to the relationship a lot of times come out, meaning we want to talk about it over and over and over again, where the horse is dead, but we're still beating it, or we are fighting and screaming about how someone is inconsiderate. It creates intimacy problems, which is really the wound. We see that second chakra is all about our individuality, how we feel about ourselves, but it's all relationship. And if we have bad relationships over time, we're not going to see ourselves good. So I would say both those cards for both you and this person, but we're going to pull two more because I said two for them first, but I interpret it as it resonates for you. Okay, defense mechanism. So this could also be, instead of not being able to take criticism or having person like being able to express, you being defensive. So that's what I said before, and I felt that I said, oh well, both parties could actually not know how to handle criticism. Because again, the defense mechanism is to just shut down. And so your person may shut down, don't say anything, and you again overtalk, yell, become emotional. So both parties have the same wound, but they don't express it the same way, and it becomes a trigger. And those triggers play out as bigger, like again, problems on top of other problems. Okay. So one more here is mirror, like again, like you're mirroring each other. So, which we know because it's the same wound, and the same wound is like afraid of losing oneself. When meanwhile, both parties really haven't created enough of themselves because they're still holding on to that inner child wound, when the inner child wound is, again, not being able to form one's identity, having to become like a chameleon. And that happens if we grew up with a very dominant parent, when we didn't feel safe. And then we've taken that same type of attitude into every single relationship. So in order, because we identify that with being good, creating a positive relationship, when that's not really what creates a positive relationship, that we lose ourselves in that. So I want to say, pull one more card for last message. What did the universe say? What does the universe say? And the universe says, you're just going to open it just like that. Yep, you just saw right. I just want like this. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. You saw it just like this. There's a function just like this. And it says, learning to love myself. I choose to see the beauty in me. My wealth lies in my nature and my potential. I transform my weakness into strength. I realize that I am a being of light and I allow myself to shine. So again, this is about looking, self-observation, and self-observation is how your reading opened. It's to be able to look at yourself and love yourself and accept yourself. Because like I said, no one should be able to make you feel inadequate. No one should make you feel as if you have to mold to their environment and lose yourself. If someone does, then it's a defense mechanism, and that, you know, that's, you lose yourself by, and you're not going to be happy. So it's all about defining what you need, want, and expect, like it says here, within your relationship, so that you don't lose your identity, so you can create more of an identity, build on that, so that, like I said, you can become more of yourself. Because this relationship is a karmic one, which means depending on what you do. If you lose yourself in the relationship, you both feel smothered and you both feel like you've lost each other. Like, meaning you'll lose yourself, they'll lose themselves, and then you'll trigger each other more and the relationship won't last. Or you can bring out the best in each other, because you have gifts that they don't have, and vice versa. And the love that a soulmate twin flame relationship has is that it helps us transmute our wounds, the passion from that, the connection. And the person has a lot of passion for you. You have a lot of passion for them. You feel as if you're one. However, there's a lot of wounds there. So it's a divine connection, but it is karmic. So I'm going to leave that there, Virgo. You let me know how you resonated with this. And remember, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, write self-observation in your comment bar, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.